fuck did you just say? I was banned for this. I made 2 videos related to the election, and they're both going back up right now in this video. Fucking enjoy, and fuck you YouTube, and fuck everything about you. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Have you seen the most recent playlist, the Matt's FTR Was Right series? This is being added to that. Enjoy, motherfuckers.
Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here, Project Veritas Election Fraud Update. We have received 12,000 tips. We've been working round the clock overnight to go through them all. We are looking specifically for incontrovertible evidence, first-hand evidence, not just hearsay, of voter fraud in states like Pennsylvania and Georgia. We have received a couple whistleblowers. We're trying to convince these folks to go on the record. They're very scared, worried about being fired.
We have put together, and you guys did it for our administration, the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
The bad news is Joe Biden won. The good news is there is not going to be any riots, or if there is any kind of like protesting, riot type stuff going on, it'll only be from a few of the pro-Trump, white supremacist racists out there. But anyone with half a brain knows that there's not very many of them, at least when compared to the terrorist organizations known as Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Just like 4 years ago when Trump beat Hillary, it was those fuckers who went out rioting, looting, beating people up, killing people, burning down buildings and all that shit because Trump won. If Hillary won, there would be nothing, because the conservatives would be like, this sucks, we hate her, blah blah, and some of the racist right-wingers would be doing something violent, I'm sure, because even when Hillary did lose, there were some racists who were rioting along with Black Lives Matter and Antifa, but a very small portion. Almost all of it comes from the left, which is Antifa and Black Lives Matter. As much as the mainstream media wants to try to convince all of the stupid people out there that it's the right-wingers who are all racist and they're all white supremacists and blah blah blah, fuck off. We're so tired of this fucking bullshit. I'm not right-wing, I think everyone knows that. I'm not racist at all or any of that shit. I just look at facts. And despite what the media tells all these brain-dead fuckers, most of the rioting, looting, and all that shit comes from the left. In fact, so much so, businesses in Washington had even started boarding up their windows in anticipation of Trump winning, because they assumed that Trump would win. So in anticipation, they boarded up all their windows because they knew that there would be riots if he did. He didn't end up winning, but that's what people were boarding up their businesses for, because they anticipated he would win and therefore there would be riots. If all those people in Washington knew that he wouldn't win, then they wouldn't need to bother boarding up anything, because they know that the right barely does any of that shit, because they just accept the win and move on, except for the couple racist people. But that's the thing. But the most important thing is the right doesn't have a racist organization. There's a couple racist people sprinkled in, but there's no organization. Antifa is an organization. Oh, by the way, a lot of other dumb motherfuckers out there will say, Antifa is not an organization, okay? They're just an idea, a movement, like SJWs. Yeah, that's another mainstream media lie. They are an organization. If you go to Project Veritas, James O'Keefe and his company have literally gone into the place where Antifa teaches people how to join and how to fight. Yeah, they literally have like fighting classes for how to beat people up. That makes it an organization. It's the exact same thing with Black Lives Matter. They are terrorists. They are an organization. If you look at this video right here that I made, BLM is a terrorist organization with proof, if you watch that video, you will literally hear in that video the founder of BLM admitting that BLM is a terrorist organization. But anyway, the point remains, and I want all of you to know, for all of you stupid bastards who probably didn't know, and if you didn't know, chances are because you're willfully ignorant or because you watch the mainstream media and they were trying to hide this shit, but I want you to all know who you elected.
Contributors.
Well, the fortunate thing is I didn't have many larger contributors, and the only reason, see, I went to the big guys for the money. I was ready to prostitute myself in the manner in which I talk about it.
Aren't you a living example?
I am an anachronism.
Wait.
I'm a 29-year-old oddball. The only reason I was able to raise the money is I was able to have a national constituency to run for office. Because I was 29, I'm like the token black or the token woman. I was the token young person.
We're talking about this national...
That important legislators in defeating the Nunes plan in the basement said, quote, "We already have a nigger mayor. We don't need any more nigger big shots." And the court cited evidence of this.
You might be wondering why I'm showing this clip, because Biden was reading it. He didn't actually say that. He was reading a quote off that paper that you can see on the screen. But there's a reason I brought this up. And yes, it was also from 1985, by the way. But the reason I included this is not just because he said the N-word, because quite frankly, I don't even care. The fact that he was reading it means that he didn't say that, and I fully know that and I fully acknowledge it. So why did I include it? I included it because if Trump did the exact same thing, not actually saying the N-word, but reading it, the left would and the mainstream media would never, ever shut the fuck up about it. So it's not about the N-word in this situation, it's about the hypocrisy of it. And it's not just that. A lot of you idiots may not know this because you're idiots, but you're not really voting for Joe Biden at all. He's not your president. Because let's face it, he's not really going to last. Due to his dementia and old age, he's going to be out. And when he is, Kamala Harris is going to be your president, your little SJW president, and totally corrupted hypocrite too. Before she became VP, she actually believed one of Joe Biden's accusers, Tara Reade. And then once she became VP, she no longer believed Tara Reade. Check out this article right here. Scroll down to this little audio recording and you'll hear Kamala Harris fucking admit to this shit. So she's nothing but a hypocrite to believe an accuser and then go, "Oh, Tara Reade's a liar. How else can I be the VP? I want to be part of this too." And if that's not enough, here's a video, another article you can check out, I'll put the links in the description, of during the campaign trail, again, long before being chosen as VP, she called him a racist. But I guess now that he's president, he's no longer racist. And now that you're VP, he's no longer racist. So, fuck Kamala Harris too, and fuck all of you for not knowing this shit. I think we should actually have a new term for conspiracy theorists. You know how the current term is basically a conspiracy theorist is what someone is called if they're smart and think things through and look at facts, but the facts are against what the mainstream media wants you to believe, and they debunk it by not really debunking it. They just say it's debunked and people believe it. And then from that point on, whatever that thing is that was proven is called a conspiracy theory because the mainstream media doesn't like it. And then all the dumb fucking sheep in our world go, "It's a conspiracy theory, you're a fucking idiot for believing in it." Well, you know what? I think conspiracy theory should have a new definition that's a little bit more accurate. I think a real conspiracy theorist is a person who denies things that were proven in place of what the mainstream media says is true but didn't prove. For example, the Russia collusion. That was something that the mainstream media totally made up. It had no evidence behind it. When evidence did come out, which was the Mueller report, it was actually debunked, and yet the mainstream media and idiots still believed it to be true anyway, and still to this day believe it to be true. As far as I'm concerned, those people are the conspiracy theorists, not people who look at things like, let's say, like ballot harvesting and election fraud. The same people who will believe in the Russia collusion crap are the same people who will deny ballot harvesting and election fraud. By the way, this is how Biden actually won the election.
This video is one of the first of its kind. A man self-incriminating himself bragging about all the illegal ballot harvesting that he does.
Numbers don't lie. Waujeeda gaarigaygu waa buuxaa. Waxaas waa absent ballot salka yaala. Soo ma jeedid. Fiiri, waxaas oo dhan soo ma jeedid. Waa buuxaa gaarigayga. Waa buuxaa yaala. Waxaas kullu waa Jamaal Cusmaan way. Fiiri. 300 clear maanta soo dhacday oo Jamaal Cusmaan. Yeah.
I would strongly suggest watching that whole video, as well as Project Veritas's many other investigations where he proves things like ballot harvesting, social media censorship, and all types of forms of corruption. And unlike the mainstream media, who constantly uses anonymous sources, Project Veritas proves things by using actual hidden camera footage and audio of people admitting to various things. So it's no wonder that the mainstream media hates Project Veritas, because Project Veritas does something that the mainstream media doesn't. Accurate reporting. But anyway, this bastard had 300 ballots for one fucking person. That's one example that Project Veritas exposed. Here's another. I would strongly suggest you watch this investigation. Ballot chaser reveals massive vote fraud effort to elect Joe Biden. $55,000 for 5,000 votes. This awful woman here went all around Texas trying to get people to vote for Joe Biden. She would get votes from people. She would sway people into voting for Biden and get paid for it. This woman's disgusting. And you have to ask yourself, how much did this woman really influence the election? How much did the other guy influence the election? And how much of this crap has happened that Project Veritas did not even catch? Now, aside from those two videos, there are many other videos involving ballot harvesting or just election fraud overall, done by Jesus O'Keefe. If you go to Project Veritas, you will find multiple videos. I'm going to start with this one down here, where he speaks to a man who literally tells him that this is going on, but he has to be neutral, so he can't reveal too much information.
We're just checking out to see if there's any fraud in the elections.
We've detected a bunch of voter registration fraud. We turned it into the authorities and haven't done squandola. If everything operates by the law, it should be good for conservatives.
What a way to openly admit, right, that the crime, if it's prevented, then the conservatives are the ones who are okay. Meanwhile, you'll have the media telling you that they're the ones committing the crimes and the fraud and all that crap, right? And he's also done multiple other investigations in the past week regarding all this voter fraud, most of which are by USPS postal workers talking about how they were actually told by their supervisors if they actually receive mail-in ballots after the 3rd, that were filled in after the 3rd, like November 4th, 5th, and 6th, etc., to backdate them back to the 3rd so that they could fucking be counted. Here's a few videos that you should all check out. This one here. There's this one here, fraud update. Mail-in fraud here. Mail-in fraud at Pennsylvania. Second Pennsylvania fraud video. There's this one here. There's this one here. There's there's so many whistleblowers about this. There's this guy here. And most importantly, this one right here. This one actually proves basically a summary of all the other ones I just showed you. This guy comes to Project Veritas saying that he was told that the only mail that will be delivered from that point on is the mail of the winner. Well, first of all, Biden is not technically the winner yet. He's still president-elect, and they're still recounting the votes because of this voter fraud. But he was told that any mail involving Trump cannot be delivered and we put into basically the undeliverable box, but to continue delivering Biden mail because they considered him the winner. This proves that the USPS Postal Service does in fact have a political bias, which also helps support all of the other videos that Project Veritas has exposed regarding voter fraud with mail. And now let's talk about the supposed glitches. The first one was when Biden all of a sudden got 138,000 votes in Michigan, all in one shot, and Trump didn't get any. According to this article, it was basically one of the so-called glitches, and if you read on, you'll get, a lot of information on that. You'll see that this guy is the one who originally tweeted the whole thing, and he deleted it. And the article explains how it's a glitch and why people who thought it wasn't a glitch are wrong. But here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing. This here might not be evidence of voter fraud, even though it is happening. But here's the problem. When he showed the original graph of the votes being shot up, social media and the mainstream media was saying it was fake news, but it wasn't. The graph was real, just that it was a glitch. But they're saying that it never happened to begin with, and the whole thing is fake news from the right. It wasn't fake news from the right. The graph was real. They just claimed afterwards that it was a glitch. So it's one thing to say that it was a glitch, so therefore not to worry about these 138,000 votes. That's fine. But don't tell us that we're wrong for sharing the graph when the graph itself, before the glitch was fixed, was real. And the second example of glitches, although that's only 2 that were announced, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more glitches, but regardless, this is the second example of glitches. And this one was actually confirmed, by the way. Not like where there was a graph, but then it was fixed after. No, this one was real. It actually happened. Where Biden was given 6,000 votes, even though those 6,000 votes were actually meant for Trump. And this article goes into detail about that. And it was even admitted, by the way. And here's something else that you weren't told by the article. This didn't just happen in Michigan. It actually happened in more than a dozen other fucking states with different amounts of votes, not just 6,000. So here's the thing. When somebody comes and says, oh, it was just 6,000 votes, that's not going to make a whole world of difference in the results. Yeah, it will, because it's in a bunch of other states where it also happened. So it's not just that. If you're wondering why I keep putting the word glitches in quotes, here's the reason. Isn't it just weird and ironic how whenever there's a glitch, it always happens to support the left, and the glitches never seem to support the right? It's almost as if the glitches are not really glitches and they were actually intentional. This is how Joe Biden won the election. So congratulations. You elected a pedophile, and you did it through voter fraud. You must be so fucking proud of yourself. Utterly disgusting. Like I said, I personally don't care about politics. I really don't care. I don't care that Trump lost, per se. I care that he lost unfairly. And I care about the fact that you just put a pedophile in office. But by all means, keep making up your own conspiracy theories, like calling Trump the pedophile while Biden's actually on camera touching kids, you know? That's why I say you're the real conspiracy theorists. The same people who will believe the Russia collusion but deny ballot harvesting, which is on camera, are the same people who will think Trump is a pedo with no proof while denying that Joe Biden is one who was also caught touching children on camera. Unfucking believable. You're the real conspiracy theorists, not people like me or Project Veritas who just want to speak facts. By the way, speaking of conspiracy theories, you have to find it incredibly ironic when they say things like voter fraud doesn't really happen. It's all in your imagination, and it can't happen. It's almost as if they forgot. They spent the last 4 years talking about how the previous election was rigged in Trump's favor with the Russians, and now all of a sudden they're saying that an election can't be rigged. Additionally, they're always saying that there's no widespread voter fraud. So it's almost like they're admitting that it exists, but just on a smaller scale. Otherwise, they wouldn't say that there's no large-scale voter fraud. They would say that there's no voter fraud at all. Just saying. I also just want to point out one other thing. I found this really funny meme online that basically showed an image of the average Trump rally and an image of the average Biden rally, and it was like a comparison photo. But the point of the comparison photo, it was done in a meme format, but it is true that Biden's rallies are very small because very few people show up, very few people actually support him. Granted, obviously there's a lot of people who support him that didn't go, but I'm just saying overall in general, when Trump goes from state to state to state to state, there are way more people at his rallies because he just, in general, has more people supporting him. But the meme showed the comparison. It had the number of votes, right? And Biden had a bigger number. And the simple question that we all need to ask, and what the meme was asking was, how is this fucking possible? And the answer is quite simple, as we're proving. It's not possible without voter fraud. Anyway, that's basically all I have to say here today. I've pretty much proven the voter fraud. I mean, it's basically impossible to deny unless you are in like some serious cognitive dissonance mode and in denial. And if you are, I just feel so bad for you.
I didn't understand what you said. What did you just say?
Okay. With this election, you can vote in any precinct.
No, you said the Republican side is not what?
I don't have staff, so we are closed right now.
So for the Democrat, I can vote Democrat?
You can vote Democrat.
But not Republican?
Not Republican, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you.